So, a 6-year-old movie prequel for Peter Pan. Yeah. You know what? I don't know why some people complain specifically about there being a lot of CGI and such in some movies. I mean, some movies just use CGI. They just do. And in this movie, it looks good, right? I really cannot conceive of how people compare, but like some movies have CGI, some do not. There's both. It's not like there's only one, or there's some people are trying not to. I just There's both. It's this same thing. I mean, just happened as well in Red of the Titans. I haven't seen Clash for that. What's the point? Some movies have CGI, some don't. You know, and even in Wrath of the Titans specifically, the CGI was brilliant. And this was brilliant also in another manner. This I mean, I liked how those bubbles of water looked and such. Sometimes you don't need an incredibly intricate powerful story with great characterization. Sometimes I don't know. Just I mean, by all means, if you have that and CGI, then great. You have an even better movie. But you know what? I mean, sometimes, as I say many times, I just don't understand how the industry works. Really, how people work essentially. So all that. So this movie essentially could be said to have, I guess one could say, really bombed, as in, absolutely everyone. Critics were critical about it, but audiences didn't go either. It doesn't help that it was very expensive, and they did seem to spend a lot of adverts on it, so it's not like it wasn't advertised, and that's I think that was the problem. Though I guess maybe it was advertised too much, and then well, they wasted a lot of money on the adverts, and they didn't make money. They lost some 100 million something. So yeah, a lot. But as far as CGI goes, I don't understand how some movies can be successful, others not. I'm honestly wondering, Phil, whether this is just entirely due to the original effect, what I call the original effect. It's a bit idiotic. So I mean, J.M. Barrie has long been dead, so it's not like he's just going to be revived and somehow. I mean, there's even an official sequel, obviously written by someone else, actually written about 100 years after the original was written. So things, just some things. I mean, cannot be done. There's not going to be an official sequel from the very original. I mean, who cares ultimately, right? As long as the movie is entertaining, you know but honestly, this original effect is just strange, right? Like apparently, it also applied to, of all things, Noah, right? As if somehow it somehow absolutely needs to adhere to the original biblical story. I mean, who cares about the original? I like the fact that they included talking stone giants. Like, why not? Use CGI, however, I do like, what, this is the thing, right? I think I can appreciate both intricate movies that, tell a really solid story with good characterization, characters that make you feel for them, etc. And mindless CGI stuff. I mean, this looked awesome. My favorite bit, I think, certainly, is when they first went upwards to the skies, after they've escaped from the Blitz. Blitz, yeah, Blitz. It's a bit confusing that they use the song there, Blitzkrieg Pop. Apparently, I'm assuming it's because they were referencing the Blitz, but yeah. Anyway, so this is the thing. So I really don't understand. Like how some movies so So yeah, this is an unofficial sequel. You could say sequel, as it's really a prequel, but I'm saying I don't understand how because there are others. There are movies that use CGI that are successful, really, as far as I know. Um, I think, for example, Narnia, right? Narnia is also an old series, and I think there are even earlier adaptations. But this is the bizarre thing. Yeah, like someone even said that Pan might have missed out on ticket sales just because it's not by Disney. Like, do people seriously think like that? Oh, it's not Disney, so let's not go watch it. I mean, who cares, right? Whoever makes it makes it. I mean, I don't think Disney has an absolute monopoly, does it? Um, so yeah, the first Lion Witch in the Wardrobe was first adapted in 1967. Quite an early adaptation. That's a series stuff. So I'm not entirely sure how successful it was. There isn't much information about it. But yeah, I'm just saying that and then the first movie was in '79, and I don't know if it was successful either. So this wasn't the original. Is all I'm highlighting here, right? Isn't the original? I suppose I don't know if that sort of works against my theory that sometimes I suppose there's exceptions, or maybe people have not thought that there really is. I mean, it was an original series, seemingly a low key movie, then another serial, then um, not sure, this is all for television though, and um, well, I don't know if indeed the 2005 version was the first film specific. I thought the other was. I don't know, but sure enough, wow. It certainly was successful. Wow, yeah, very successful indeed. Liam Neeson, isn't it? I have no idea. Who was Liam Neeson? Yeah, of course, he's a voice of Aslan. So, this is what I mean. I have no idea. I mean, it technically wasn't the first adaptation, or whether it was originally a film or a series. It just wasn't the first, though. So I just don't get what makes this so much more successful. And sure enough, it uses a lot of CGI. Like one of the most major characters, Aslan, is entirely CGI. I don't understand how people work, honestly. Um, how Noah or even what was the other one? Like even Transformers is successful, right? As far as I know, or at least there wouldn't be a bazillion of them. Um, yeah, and Wrath of the Titans and Clash of the Titans were unsuccessful either. I don't understand. They all use CGI a lot, just like ultimately the original Narnia film did. I mean, what was the difference? Um, Lord of the Rings does as well. I'm sure Harry Potter does as well. I don't understand how some movies are so successful. But yeah, anyway, yeah, there was also um, uh, what was it called? I always forget. The Heart of the Ocean, right? I think it was. Yeah, I think it was called. Also not successful. So then, when I first reviewed that, I thought that was down to it being about whale hunting, which isn't a pretty topic. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. Maybe along those lines, I suppose maybe you could say, this movie wasn't successful because it involves You know, children being abducted, etc., which is not the topic either. You know, obviously, but that's what the original involved as well, anyway. Yeah. By the way, I actually haven't seen Disney's original. It wasn't actually the original. No, the original Peter Pan. That is actually. I just learned, which I also haven't seen actually, but it was actually a silent movie, and remarkably, Peter was played by a girl, as it happens. Had no idea. Died in '70, but I'm assuming was a child back when she played it. But not entirely sure. I mean, you know, sometimes girls or females generally voice male characters for animated media specifically. I don't think though I've ever come in time. Well, I suppose it's good. Makeup can change, I guess, looks and everything, but it's still sort of strange. Anyway, yeah. So I actually haven't seen the original Disney's Peter Pan, you know, but otherwise, I mean, it's all the same story anyway. So it's not like, and this also had a controversy with regards to its casting, which is a separate issue. I mean, I'm looking at that issue. That was the reason specifically why it did so badly. I have no idea though. That's separate. That's what it is. Um, but you know, with regards to CGI, I've just been commenting on it mainly because there were a lot of critics criticizing it. That somehow it could make Peter Pan, you know, besides in animated form, which obviously would use animation then. But I don't get what the point of critics criticizing CGI is. I mean, do they expect the ships to just magically float, or I don't know, or maybe they wanted a radically altered Peter Pan, you know, which then they criticize it for not being Peter Pan, of course. I don't get it. Yeah, I don't get it. Um, Disney's original Peter Pan, of course, was very successful. I mean, technically, you know, it could have. I guess animation is cost much less, I suppose, and it only cost 4 million apparently. It made though lots more than that, and this was back in the 50s, so I don't know if it's adjusted for inflation, but yeah, way more than that. Apparently, it made 87 million in box office because back then maybe yeah, people went to watch in cinemas more than these days. So maybe that's another possibility there was. Yeah, and but yeah, I don't understand why people would criticize CGI specifically. Say, uh, if CGI, you know, personally, I think if CGI looks nice, you know, like this did, you know, like, this not only had CGI that looked nice, but also had apparently scenes from Vietnam specifically that they added into the yeah, that you know looked gorgeous as well. So I don't quite understand why people don't like such movies. I mean, personally, if a movie looks nice, I mean, sure that there were not everything looked nice, you know, particularly Blackbeard, right? But what's brilliant is that I didn't recognize that he's Hugh Jackman. I just didn't, which is quite brilliant in some way. Really, the makeup can change a character a lot. Um, so yeah, uh, but yeah, I mean, it's not like all of it looked nice. Obviously, the beginning, etc. But it does honestly befuddle me, especially the fact that the original nine actually. begins very much like Palm here, right? It's also set in World War II, etc. So it begins, they practically have an identical sort of beginning. They aren't technically in some sort of institution, but and they technically ride a train and go elsewhere, etc. But uh, it begins similarly anyway, is what I'm saying, and it uses CGI similarly, and people criticize this for having a formulaic plot as well, and sure enough, it's formulaic as these kind of movies are usually, fantasy movies generally. I mean, if they do something unexpected, and people will probably not like it for being unexpected. I don't know, just it's so strange. So to for one movie that is kind of similar, uses a lot of similar CGI, similar plot structure. I mean, the original Narnia isn't exactly unpredictable either. Similar stuff happens. I don't know what's so different, and yet it made so much more in profit. And so yeah, it's quite strange. I'm trying to compare like with like here. I mean, I know other movies that also use CGI, in my opinion. So I mean, it's not like I like every single movie that uses CGI. Some movies use it unnecessarily and have a terrible, non-existent plot as well. Way worse than this. That yet made much more money. So I don't quite understand how any of this works really. But specifically, comparing like with like, Narnia. Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, yeah, I like Narnia as well. I'm not saying it's terrible or anything, but in fact, that's the point, right? It's very similar. So I don't quite understand how, you know. So some person suggested might have been a factor that the name, just Pan, might have maybe misled people, maybe, but does that really? I mean, does a simple word make so much difference that somehow they lose hundreds of millions? I don't suppose, right? I mean, yeah. Well, so what? If the original Narnia movie was only called Narnia, then what? It would have lost many millions. So it goes from 700 million to 80 million. Doesn't make much sense, does it? I mean, I wouldn't think that it would, but who knows? I mean, sure, names do matter. They are the name after all that people, when thinking, should I go watch this? Yes, no, based on the name. Maybe some people didn't connect Pan to Peter Pan, or I don't know what else we could connect it to. I'm assuming not many people know that Pan is also a fertility god, which has no relation as far as I know, but I'm assuming many people didn't think, oh, that refers to the god. I don't want to watch much mythology right now. Yeah, maybe not. I don't suppose that happened very often. So I don't quite know, man. I'm assuming, yeah, maybe people didn't connect it to Peter Pan or something. Either that or word of mouth after people watched it, didn't recommend it, etc. Obviously, this happens. But there's a lot of word of mouth that needs to happen for a movie to just like if the original Narnia had so much word of mouth that it went from 700 million, it's a lot of profit, right? 700 million. Um, I don't know. Ultimately, personally, I liked it. I liked how it looked. I like the backstory. I haven't seen the original hook either, but I like this one anyway. I don't know why people complaining about CGI specifically. I don't get it. I like the CGI. I usually do anyway, but I like this one specifically. Just like that, I like quick, if I have the time to check. So yeah. Hmm.